Walking away is more than just leaving a place, a person, or a situation. It is an act of transformation. It is the moment when you decide that something no longer serves your growth, and so you step away. But what happens to those left behind? How do they feel? Carl Jung believed that human emotions are deeply tied to the unconscious mind. When you walk away, the people you leave behind are forced to confront something they often avoid: their own reflection. Your absence creates a space where their fears, insecurities, and hidden wounds come to the surface. Some feel anger, not because you wronged them, but because they now have to face the discomfort they were ignoring. Others feel abandoned, not because you owed them anything, but because they tied their sense of worth to your presence. Some feel indifferent, revealing that your connection was never deep to begin with. This is the paradox of walking away. It is not about you. It is about them. Their emotions are a mirror of their own inner world. When you step out of a relationship, a friendship, or a toxic environment, you are not just making a personal choice, you are triggering a psychological reaction in others that forces them to see themselves in a way they may not like. In this discussion, we will explore the emotions that arise in those you leave behind, why some people try to pull you back, why others blame you, and why some quietly accept it. Understanding this will help you walk away without guilt and with a deeper sense of clarity. Because in the end, walking away is not just an ending, it is the beginning of something new. When you walk away from someone or something, it creates a ripple effect, and the people left behind are not only confronted with your absence but with their own unresolved feelings. Jung taught us that every person we encounter is, in some way, a reflection of our own unconscious. Our relationships, the bonds we form, the way we interact, all are projections of our inner world. Therefore, when you leave, others are forced to confront their own inner state, which often results in a variety of reactions, none of which are truly about you. For some, your departure stirs anger. Not necessarily because they want you to stay, but because your decision challenges their sense of control. Jung said that many individuals subconsciously crave control over their environment and others. When you leave, you disrupt that control, and for some, this triggers anger. This anger is often an attempt to regain the power they feel they've lost. For others, your absence can bring up feelings of guilt. They may not be aware of it, but by leaving, you force them to face their own role in the situation. Jung noted that people have a tendency to avoid self-awareness, particularly when it comes to uncomfortable truths about their own actions. Your walking away brings this truth into the light, forcing them to face their responsibility. This can lead to a period of reflection or, unfortunately, a defense mechanism where they deny their part and blame you instead. Then there are those who may try to pull you back. This is a classic example of how some people use others as a way to avoid their own fears or pain. Jung argued that we often form relationships to avoid facing the deeper, more uncomfortable parts of ourselves. When you walk away, they are left with the choice to confront those uncomfortable feelings, and for some, it's easier to try to re-establish the connection and avoid that confrontation. Their pull isn't about love or genuine need for you. It's about not wanting to deal with their own unresolved emotions. Finally, there are those who seem indifferent. For them, your departure might not be a significant event. They were either emotionally distant, or they themselves are at peace with their own feelings. Jung would say this reflects their inner state. If they are indifferent to your absence, it's because their inner world is not deeply impacted by connections. It can be a sign that they never truly invested emotionally, or that they have learned to detach from others out of necessity or personal philosophy. Understanding this deeper layer can help you navigate the complex feelings of guilt or responsibility that arise when you make the decision to walk away. Because ultimately, as Jung would remind us, it is not about how others react, it's about your own journey of growth and self-awareness. When you walk away, the ripples of your decision extend beyond your own life. They touch others in ways that are sometimes hidden from plain sight. Carl Jung believed that our relationships act as mirrors, revealing things about ourselves that we may not be consciously aware of. This is why the reactions of others when you leave, whether they are of anger, guilt, or indifference, are not truly about you. They are expressions of their own psychological states. Walking away is a powerful act of self-preservation and self-awareness. It's a declaration that you no longer wish to engage in a dynamic that harms your mental, emotional, or spiritual well-being. However, the challenge lies in understanding that your departure is not just an emotional statement to the person you leave behind. It is a mirror to their unconscious world, which may be full of unresolved emotions, hidden fears, or suppressed desires. For many, the feelings of abandonment or rejection that arise when you leave are tied to deeper issues, often linked to their own self-worth or fear of being unimportant. Jung believed that a person's unconscious mind will create projections in relationships, leading them to see aspects of themselves in others. So, when you walk away, they might see it as a reflection of their own perceived failure or inadequacy. This is where much of the anger and guilt stems from, the discomfort of confronting parts of themselves that they have long avoided. Your decision to leave can also act as a catalyst for change in those who are willing to embrace it. Some may choose to reflect and ask themselves why your absence has such a profound effect on them. Jung's idea of individuation, the process of becoming your true self, suggests that sometimes it takes a disruption like walking away to force someone to look inward. This is a painful but necessary step towards self-awareness and growth. The people who choose to reflect, to learn, to change from this experience, are often the ones who are able to grow from it. On the other hand, some may choose to remain stuck in the cycle of blame and resentment. They may refuse to look inward and instead direct their energy outward, projecting their discomfort onto you. This is an essential part of the human experience. Many people will avoid self-reflection because it requires confronting uncomfortable truths. But in Jung's view, the refusal to engage in self-awareness means they miss the opportunity for transformation. It's a painful process for both sides, but it's also one that opens the door to growth and transformation, if both parties are willing to face the discomfort. This is the essence of what Jung taught us, that relationships, while sometimes painful, are opportunities for self-discovery. Walking away from a situation or person isn't an act of avoidance, it's an act of self-respect. The act of walking away is more than just a physical distance, it's a metaphysical one. It is the crossing of boundaries, not only between people but also between the conscious and unconscious realms. When you make the decision to leave, whether it's a person, a toxic environment, or an unhealthy relationship, you are asserting your autonomy and making a statement about your own self-worth. This is where Carl Jung's ideas about individuation come into play, the process by which you separate yourself from the projections of others and begin to fully integrate and understand your own psyche. In doing so, you create space for both yourself and others to grow. Jung would argue that walking away is not an act of escape but rather a journey toward greater self-awareness. It's an acknowledgement that the current situation does not serve your well-being or your path of personal development. This decision can be seen as an invitation for you to grow beyond the confines of what has been holding you back, and a challenge for others to confront their own inner world. The reactions of others when you walk away can reveal a great deal about their own psychological state. Some people may try to guilt you into returning, invoking emotions that force you to feel responsible for their discomfort. This is another projection, a way of deflecting their own pain onto you. They may be unconsciously trying to manipulate you back into a situation where they do not have to confront their own issues. At the same time, there will be those who may express anger or frustration at your decision. For them, your departure feels like an act of betrayal. Jung saw this kind of reaction as an externalization of the inner conflict they are unwilling to face. The anger is not truly directed at you, but at the mirror you have unknowingly held up to their own deficiencies and struggles. For some, however, your leaving may serve as an opportunity for growth. They might be forced to reflect on their own behavior, their role in the relationship, and what they need to change in their own lives. While this can be uncomfortable and painful, it is often through such discomfort that real transformation occurs. Those who are willing to take this step into self-awareness will find that the process of individuation can lead to a deeper understanding of who they truly are. Walking away, while difficult, is ultimately a necessary part of personal growth. By stepping out of situations that no longer serve you, you allow yourself to become more aligned with your true self. And in doing so, you give others the opportunity to either remain stuck in their patterns or to evolve into more self-aware individuals. In the end, the act of walking away is as much about you as it is about the person or situation you leave behind. It is a necessary step in breaking free from unhealthy patterns and moving toward a more authentic existence. While the reactions of others may be difficult to navigate, understanding that they are simply projections of their own unresolved issues can help you to maintain your inner peace. Remember, as Jung taught us, the path to self-realization is often painful, but it is the only path that leads to true freedom and growth.